We are not an automated plant. Like I said, we are hands-on. Our production day starts about 1 o'clock in the morning. Um, you won't see much automation in our facility at all, except for our pasteurizer, which is push button. But other than that, when we make the cheese, we do open vats. I actually had enclosed vats for my son, and he says I can't do that because the cheese will be different from vat to vat, open and closed. So I sold them. We just like the fact that what we do and the skill it takes to run open vats and make the cheese consistently is our livelihood. This was actually, along with Emmental, the first cheeses I made was Muenster and Brick and Swiss cheese, or the Wheel Emmental. It's a very nice cheese. It's clean. It's got multiple uses. I always say that because I do grilled cheese sandwiches out at local festivals, that my Butterkase, which we'll try next, and my Muenster make the best grilled cheese sandwich ever. I don't do anything really fancy with it, but there's a lot of butter involved in the hot griddle, and yeah, it's so universal. I mean, it melts well. You can sauce with it. It pairs well with pretty much any beer or wine, crackers. Right now I'm drinking a Spotted Cow from New Glarus because it was what they had to give me, and I really like it anyway, so it's okay. Yeah, it's a nice cheese to make. Flows with the process in our facility very well. We can do it in pretty much any style. Like I say, we can do it in long johns. We can do it, which is a 12-pound log. We can do it in a 6-pound loaf. We can do it in slabs if that's what the customer wants. So yeah, yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to say about it.
Semi-soft cheeses, I think, are so universal for Americans and people that just want to enjoy a piece of cheese, uncomplicated and delicious. And Muenster happens to be one of my favorites. There are several things that I like about it, but like you said, it melts beautifully. This is such a great cheese to be able to melt and to work with. So it also pairs with so many different things that I just really love it. So beer-wise, I like lagers, and this lends itself really well to a lager. So the Sam Adams Boston Lager, it's more of a Vienna style with a maltiness to it. So I wanted a little bit more oomph to the flavor. And then for the cheese, I wanted to go a little spicy with it. And so I picked up the Three Little Pigs, their chorizo, and this is a dry chorizo. Something that gives it, it's not overly, this isn't like a Spanish version where it's all hot, or it's not a level of a pepperoni. And then just putting it on a regular petite toast. And so it's just a really little appetizer snack. I thought it'd be really fun to put these together and simple.
We do a toast with Muenster under the broiler. Start to bubble. It's always good that way too. Quick snack.
I could see melting that, putting that under a broiler, getting a little bit warmer, a little bit gooey on there. That'd be absolutely magnificent. Really fun, very easy. And I think that it lends itself so well. But by itself, this is such a great snacking cheese.
Yeah, you pretty much can't go wrong. I mean, it's probably, that and the Butterkase are my two kid-friendly cheeses. Everybody should have them in the fridge.
Exactly. So that was fun. Nice, easy cheese. Anything else you'd like to say about it? Different or anything?
Everybody makes, not everybody, but a lot of people make Muenster, and we're all close. We're all, it's a tough competition if you get into it. It's bragging rights for a year. But our cheese is pretty good. We stand behind it 100%, and Yeah, hopefully they'll try it and like it and move on. Ah, Butterkase. This is really cool. When I worked at Rothcase, um, they were probably about the first ones to bring a Butterkase recipe over. Not sure on that, but I was told that many times by the owner. Um, and so when I went for my license with it, um, and the recipe we were using, he says, now this recipe came from Switzerland. And we had a different culture in there, and I've continued to use that culture, which really gives you a really rich, nice, buttery flavor to it. So, I mean, for crackers, you don't need to have a butter cracker because I tell you, this is unbelievable. I sauce this up, I put it over broccoli and vegetables. It's really good on that. Put it on top of pizzas. It's crazy, although it does oil a little bit because of the fat content. But yeah, you'll know when you get into it that it's got a really nice butter note to it. It's just really smooth.
I remember when I first ran into this style of cheese, people were like, it's a Havarti. No, it's not a Havarti. Well, it looks like a Havarti, but it's not a Havarti, you know? And uh, it's got such a nice buttery flavor, but it doesn't have that tanginess that you get out of the Havarti. So
Right.
it's got more richness of flavor. I have to be honest with you and tell you that I had not really paired this up. So I went to the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin website for pairing up and looked at their suggestions for beer because I honestly have not really done a lot with it. It's kind of a simple cheese, so doesn't really fall into that category of, doing big things with it. So and they recommended a wheat beer or that. So I went with the Whole Garden. I just love these guys. And this is their original Belgian wheat. And I think it's just really simple, but it adds like you have a biscuit with it. You're drinking your biscuit. Mm. Just so nice and clean and works really well. And so with pairing with this, it's so easy to manipulate, to be able to bring flavors. It blends in with something so well. But I really wanted to take it to a sweetness level. So I have some Bonnie's jams, and this is a strawberry rhubarb that she does. And I put it on a Effie's oat cake and to give it a little bit of structure, sweetness, and then kind of blend in with the butter. So that's the direction that I went. Mm.
Yeah, we have a, what? Oh, yeah, my wife makes paninis with them and puts pears with it. And
I thought
apricot.
about a pear paste. But I've been always intrigued by the sweetness of rhubarb and strawberry, and with the buttery flavors, you don't really lose the cheese with this, but you get more butter into the rhubarb, which isn't a bad thing. But it adds some sweetness, but this isn't a candy dessert. This is actually a very fruit forward, buttery flavor.
Yeah.
You need the beer to be able to kind of clean the palate a little bit.
You always need a beer to clean the palate, so it's a really good cheese, universal. And if you're gonna grill it, I said grilled cheese. I do this grilled cheese sandwich, Butterkase and Muenster with the tomato bisque soup for comfort food in the wintertime, and you can't go wrong. One of my favorites. Havarti. I started making this at Rothkase in Monroe, and we brought it down to Edelweiss. Again, we stick to traditions when we make this cheese. We don't add whey cream back to the product at all. We don't, we make sure that the only cream we add back is sweet cream. It's no more than 24 hours old. If we make Havarti, we either separate the cream the day before, or separate the cream in the morning before we make the Havarti later in the day. We add enough to keep the standard of identity pretty much as high as we can go, without losing body and texture. It's a longer process to make. Not that it takes any more skill than the other semi-sauce. It's just the process it takes to make it. All the cheeses we have here, except for the Muenster, are wash curds, which means that we want to wash some of the lactose out by adding water, taking them out away and adding water back during the cooking process, because we want to keep the pH up to the point that it will be in a nice range without getting too bitter or too acid, depending on whether pH lays. Again, this is a great cheese for cooking. It's a great snack cheese. Pretty much pairs well with anything. Like you mentioned earlier, Michael, it does have a little bit of an acid note at the end, but that's caused by the cultures we use to make the product, and the amount of cream that we keep in it. I know we keep our moisture content lower than most people do. We try to keep it to 39–40% moisture range with both the plain and the dill, for the fact that it's more functional later in the process as it ages out. Because of the high cream, it will break down quicker with a higher moisture, so we want to make sure that we have a good shelf-stable product for quite a while. So yeah, it's a good snacking cheese again too. Fruit, nuts. Actually, this one I like prosciutto, the shaved ham, really thin. That really goes well with it. And we use Potter's crackers out of Milwaukee, Port Washington area, Madison area, that are really good to pair. So
again, when people are buying cheese for everyday consumption and just making recipes, this Havarti is one of the best choices you can make. It has that nice acidity on the end of this, but there's so much butter. It really has a very clean, buttery flavor. The acidity on there just really brings up, I think it accents the amount of butter that's in there. So very, very nice. I'm pairing this up with a Pilsner. This is North Coast Brewing, and this is their Scrimshaw. You can see how clean this is. I mean, it's just a beautiful Pilsner. And it gives you just that biscuit flavor. Anytime, you're working with beer, it's liquid bread. So, you get that flavor characteristic. So while you were talking, I basically ate about a quarter of the piece of cheese with the beer, because it's just so nice together. And as you were saying with fruit, and being right now we're still getting fresh fruits and really getting into that season, I was thinking that peaches are just one of my favorites to pair up with that. And not having any here, I chose to use a chutney, and this is a spicy chutney through Virginia chutney. And it's got some really great flavors of the fresh peaches to it. And then for my vehicle on here, I'm using the Effie's, and this is their pecan nut cake biscuit with honey. So it's a little overload with all the little bit of sugar in here, but the Havarti really stands up to it, and that acidity really brings out more of the sweet fruit with it. Mm.
Looks yummy. Sounds yummy.
You know, you would have to eat the entire tray of pecan cakes, pecan biscuits, because that's just so good with this cheese. You know, the cheese in itself just does everything without it, but with it, it's just a nice little kick to it. I'm looking forward to using this in a couple recipes, and especially with some pastas, because you know, having the combination of these really adds to the depth and creaminess of the pasta dishes. And I do a little bit of prosciutto. I fry it up and then toss that in there for a little bit of crunchy baconish flavor.
So yes, our Dill Havarti, now again, like the plain Havarti, we try to keep it right up as close to 60% fat levels as we can. It's again made the same way with being a wash curd and the amount of cream we add. Again, no whey cream, strictly sweet cream, fresh sweet cream. And then we add the dill to it. If you look at the loaf in the picture, you can see we try very hard to have even distribution, which gives you a nice flavor profile when you're going through it. You're not getting stuck with a bunch of the dill wheat all at one time. And again, we don't add any extra oils or flavors to it. We feel that keeping the dill where we're at and with the cream levels that we keep it at, that we have a dill flavor that is well represented and well rounded throughout the product. So there's no reason to, you know, fool with Mother Nature. Keep it the way it is. Pairing, I don't know. I really never paired this too much with anything. People like it, they buy it. I like it. I just eat it plain. I guess I really don't know much to pair with it.
Dill happens to be one of my favorites in Havarti. I love the clean flavors of that. I love the smell because it's so authentic. It really brings out a freshness in the aroma that it brings. So I'm keeping the beer. I'm staying with a Pilsner, which works really well. The dill adds a kind of like maybe a little hint of hoppiness to it. So it's a nice little, you know, herb kick to it. And then I really didn't want to do that much. So, you know, honestly, I'm putting this on a rustic bakery. This is their olive oil and sea grizz. It's an organic flatbread and sourdough. And I wanted to give it something tangier. And so I'm using a caperberry, which is from the Three Little Pigs. And I love these little caperberries. I think that they're completely underused as a addition, and you don't need a lot. And I think it's really kind of cool to have that, you know. And the dill, the caperberry, the olive oil, and the Pilsner. That's it.
Nice.
Mm. Mm.
What's good?
Just nice. Just, you know, little snack, you know, and we'd probably add a little bit of charcuterie in there. You know, wouldn't hurt it at all. All of these would work really well. Doing ham and cheese or, you know, pork and cheese, anything like that would really be a lot of fun. I thought about with the Muenster doing pate with it because it all holds up really well to the pork and chicken liver. So that works out really well. So you could become really savory with it. And it's kind of the direction here with the caperberries, more savory. You don't want something so sweet, something a little really nice just before dinner or even between dinner, lunch and dinner.
I'm kind of locked up.
Yeah. So, but fabulous cheeses. I just love each one of them. They're just so flavorful. They're right on spot with the characteristics that they're supposed to be, and the buttery flavors in them are all just really nice. So great job. I mean, thank you for enlightening on what you do and bringing these fabulous cheeses to my cheese boards.
Well, we enjoy what we do, and we hope we can keep it up. It's what my boy loves and what I love, and someday I can retire, but not right anytime soon.
Well, that's a lot of things where people say, if you're doing something that you really love and you enjoy, it is a reward to be able to do that. And it's just part of life that just makes life better. I wouldn't just say, oh, I have a great job, I really enjoy this, and I'm going to retire so I don't have to do a great job and enjoy it.
Well, I tell people I watch the sunrise every morning, and I tell you that's the best part of the day. Not many people can say that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And some sunrises are warmer and some are colder, and yeah.
You can always tell the day what it's going to be like. I don't see it set too often. I go to bed long before that, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So is there anything you'd like to conclude with? Anything you want to leave us with before we head off to our evening?
I guess I just want people to understand that, all cheesemakers work hard at what we do, and our job is not to give them something that is going to be harmful. Our job is to give them something that's going to be wholesome and taste good and have quality that it should be like. And we just want, regardless who cheese you buy, we want to make sure that they enjoy it and treat it right, because it is a living organism. Don't let it set out and dry out. Don't leave it in the freezer, Treat it right, and it's going to treat you back.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, Bruce, I have to say, it's a great pleasure to be able to spend some time with you today, eating your cheeses, listening to your stories, and I have to say, I really just love what you do and your passion, and I hope that we can share this and people can indulge in your cheeses and feel the same love that you give them.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
So thank you again for taking the time. I sincerely appreciate it. So Bruce, again, thank you so much, and enjoy your evening.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
All right. Bye-bye. I also want to say that this was proudly sponsored by the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, which we greatly appreciate. And they do such a great job helping us out, and also, taking care of all the things that we do. So thank you very much.